These are the hottest bag styles coming for us in 2026. This is a continuation of my general 2026 fashion trends video. I did mention a couple of bag styles in that, but because I don't want to be annoying and repeat myself, I won't be covering those. These are the other bag styles that you are going to see a lot of come next year. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you like luxury fashion, oh, then you're probably gonna love it here. So head on there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. I also have a Substack which will be linked below. I will also link that trends video below as well. We're trying something with the middle part. We're seeing how it goes. Number one, belt bags are back. I know. Is this 2015, 2016 back again? You know what? It is. 2015 is back around. Trend cycles are usually 20 years long. What with social media, it's around the 10-year mark, okay? And belt bags were such a massive hit, especially in that kind of athleisure-y, sporty way, because around that time was also when kind of streetwear in luxury fashion really was coming through a lot. It was the traditional looking belt bags. It was as some people call it, a fanny pack or a bum bag or a belt bag, any of the above, usually worn around the waist as traditionally so. You know, belt bags really used to be associated with like dads at amusement parks or on holiday, right? Like when they're at the airport, it's like airport dad, like everybody's passports are in the front. Anyway, or they were worn across the chest. So now in 2026, we're seeing belt bags come through again in a little bit more different ways. I also did notice a very sort of streamlined version of a belt bag in the Coco Neige collection, Chanel's sort of wintry ski collection that they dropped, which was sort of, it looked like a belt and then it just had a little zip pocket in there for you to put little bits and, you know, essentials. So Versace for spring summer 2026 did a more, you know, traditional looking style of belt bag in the all leather with the Medusa as well, in a tonal leather there. Hermes. The Kelly Dance is a bag that they've done here and there throughout the years. It doesn't really get as much fanfare as the other bags. She's a little bit low-key, or she's under the radar. And the thing about the Kelly Dance bag is that you can wear her in a number of different ways. You can do it as a sort of like little backpack, or as it was worn down the runway, as a belt bag. It's very chic, you know, it's essentially a Kelly bag turned into a softer, more casual version of itself with that little Kelly lock there. It was shown in a really great sort of purple. But anyway, Ferragamo showed for fall winter 2025 this double belt bag situation. Okay, so it was like belted over a catsuit or like a jumpsuit, all in one, whatever, with these two massive, it looks like saddlebags. It looks like bags on the side of a horse for a long journey trekking through the mountains. I don't know. Louis Vuitton also did something similar with their belt bags. Again, we were double bagging it. And then on top of that, for spring summer 2026, we also saw Off-White do a smaller version of that. However, again, we're double dosing the bags. And then Coperni did this one that I'm still trying to figure out, and let's see sort of when it drops what it actually is. But it looked like a magic trick. Okay, there was just like a full-on like top handle little bag floating at the midriff of the model. How is that there? Is it, you know, a sort of belt that sort of goes through halfway through the back of the bag? Unclear. But this is the sort of new way that we're seeing belt bags come through in lots of different ways. The next trend we will see a lot of are these utilitarian bags. I'm talking cargo, pockets for everything. Lara Croft level practicality and utility coming out of our bags. But it's also not necessarily the pockets on pockets on pockets that we're going to be seeing, but just practical bags in general. I'm not sure sort of like what leads into this. These are bags that can fit your laptop. Bags that, you know, wouldn't look too out of place on a morning commute to work. Those sorts of things. Less so the sort of novelty. Listen, there's always a place for the novelty, for the tiny bag energy, for the TBEs among us. However, we are seeing much more of these like really practical, get your use out of them bags. You'll see this style of bag in particular, which is just like a really large rectangle shoulder bag. Okay, Miu Miu had a few of these, which is almost like a, it looks like a grown-up version of the bow bag that they do, which is like a little east-westy shoulder bag situation. It's that, but bigger and can fit a 13-inch laptop in it. Burberry had this really big suede top handle bag. It was slouchy, it sort of molded to the body, and it had a shoulder strap as well, which somewhat reminded me of the Loewe large Amazona bag. I spoke about this one in that initial trends video. However, this sort of fits into this general kind of umbrella of bags as well. It's practical. It's got, you know, top handles as well as a shoulder strap. You can see yourself lugging this around town. It's working for you, all right? Chanel even had this sort of suede, again, look at that sort of rectangular shape there. This suede massive version that again felt a lot more on the practical side compared to most Chanel bags. If you think of a Chanel bag, are we thinking practicality? Are we thinking I could carry this to work? Not really, okay? I'm thinking it's a classic flap, all right? It's something a little bit over the top and fabulous. This is, you know, a little bit more of that day in, day out casual vibe. Lanvin, brand we don't really talk about a lot here because it's been going through a lot. However, they had a really great cobalt suede bag that again I would fit into this category. It had a shoulder strap and like a turn lock closure. Very nice. I really liked that. And then sort of outside of this sort of large rectangular kind of shoulder bag tote situation, you've got a brand like Acne Studios that are doing their, is it called the Camaro bag? Yes. They already have this now available, but they've got a really massive version that walk down the runway as well. It's very cool. It's like, it has that sort of edginess that Acne Studios always has throughout its pieces. But again, it feels wearable, it feels everyday. And Celine also has a bag coming out that sort of very much reminds me of the Balenciaga, is it the Rodeo or is it the Bel Air? Can't remember, but it's that one with sort of like 2 different openings and a little turn lock or whatever. Once again, it feels very easy, it's no fuss, it's throw your things in, it's slouchy, it's grab and go. You're not too precious about these pieces. My personal favourite out of all of these is the new Fendi Way bag. I don't really go for like a big shoulder bag or like hobo bag style. This one enticed me. Okay, I'm here. I'm like, oh, what's going on there? I really quite enjoy you. This is a new bag style. They're doing this in a few sort of different variations and fabrics. There's a really great blue, yellow, there's a patchworky sort of one. It's essentially a soft version of the very structured peekaboo bag, and you can sling it over your shoulder and she feels more casual. Again, you can see the sort of vibe we're going for here. However, not all of the trends kind of adhere to this very sort of user-friendly vibe. Let's move into the third trend, which is fringe. Fringe is a massive trend in general across different categories for 2026, from clothes and accessories and socks even, but it is definitely coming through in the bags as well. There is a flair for the dramatic in 2026, a little bit of a song and a dance about things that I'm personally excited about, and we are now seeing these fringular trims on bags as well. McQueen is bringing back the Manta bag. I don't know if this has sort of like been around, but I really haven't seen much about it. Based on the Manta McQueen Manta bag. Yes, okay. They've got a fringed version of this that, yeah, basically looks like these sorts of leather strips have been tied onto the bag, given a bit of a song and dance as you walk. They did it in white and black, I think. Michael Kors collection, all right? Even did these sort of zip pull tassels as well as strips of leather that almost looked like they were sort of unfinished pieces coming out of an intrecciato weave. Speaking of intrecciato weave, Bottega Veneta. New season collection, they did something very similar that Michael Kors did. One of these are known for intrecciato weave and one is not. But anyway, these sorts of strips of almost like leftover fabric flowing in the wind, coming out of the sides of these bags. They did it in a sort of cascading motion, and the bag was sort of cube-like as well. I don't know, I feel like I need more details on that. Like, what are we? Who are you? I'm intrigued. Burberry did these flap-style shoulder bags, again with fringe. And Etro had this sort of fringe down the side of these pouch-like little embroidered bags, which brings us to the next trend, pouches. These sorts of evening pouches, they sort of feel very oldie worldy, something that, you know, a sort of Victorian royal would carry to a ball or something. I don't know. They range from very sort of ornate and over the top, like this Etro one, something a little bit more simple. Prada are doing these just like full-on satin pouches, and why these will do particularly well as well for a brand like Prada is this is quite a simple piece. So it's going to be priced on the more approachable side of the ladder, therefore will do quite well. I don't know why I felt the need to do this. It felt like, I don't know, it was helping get to my brain a bit more. They're very elegant and easy. It's an easier version of a clutch. A clutch can feel very, you know, quite restrictive. It's hard shell. You're going to get what you're going to get in there, and you're not going to get a single item more. Whereas with a pouch, there's some flexibility in there. It's sort of, you know, it feels quite elegant, yeah, like you're just sort of holding it by the neck of sorts. Anyway, Loewe showed that Loewe have a different interpretation of this that is constant, which is the flamenco pouch. It's a very popular bag. It's a bag that you can wear in many different ways, and it's great. That walked the runway again. It's going to still continue being popular next year. Fendi debuted a new style of bag that I would put in this category. It's a little sort of pouchy, and then it has these large beaded handles. I think it works in the smaller sizes particularly, because if you're actually going to fill that and put that on your shoulders, those beads are going to dig in, okay? But I think the smaller version is cute and works for an evening moment. Louis Vuitton had this little sort of, it was a sort of bucket bag, drawstring bucket bag slash pouch. It had twilly handles, and the base of it had trunk corners. So it was a real menagerie of Louis Vuitton fabrics there. I also think it was like a printed canvas. Either way, it was quite a treat for the eyes. There was a lot going on there, but if one could, you know, sort of focus, I think that it was quite nice. Then we move into vanity bags, and vanity bags are by no means a new trend. This is something that for the past few years have been time after time after time proved to be very popular. If you look at the Chanel small leather goods that are selling, it's the vanity bags. The Bottega Bang Bang vanity, the Loro Piana L19 pouch, the Saint Laurent Gaby vanity. Vanity bags are very popular, and that is not slowing down. However, we are seeing different varieties of vanity bags. If you think of a vanity bag now, it's a little sort of cuboid structure with a little top handle. Maybe it can go down flat, maybe not. And it tends to have a shoulder strap as well, so that you can use it as a bag and not something that belongs by your sink. Celine is doing this style that they currently already do, a sort of little cubey hard shell style of bag. It tends to be done in exotics mainly, but I've seen under Michael Ryder, he's doing crumpled versions that I quite like. And it comes with this, I don't know why I whispered, it comes with this shoulder strap. This is another take on like a little sort of cubey vanity moment in a different way. I really like that. I think it can be dressed up and dressed down. If the right colour comes along, hello. Victoria Beckham did these sort of accordion ones. Almost look like, you know, you could play that by the Seine, you know, with a couple of lovers walking past holding hands. That is not how an accordion sounds. But you know what let's use our imaginations here. Yeah, they had that with a little top handle. And then Ferrari. Where are Ferrari clothes even available to buy? Is it just online? I have many questions about that entire range, but do you want to know what? The designs are good, I'll give them that. They carried these little traditional structured sort of vanity bags down the runway. And then Louis Vuitton, a bag, a sort of cosmetics bag that they do is the Dop kit. And it is, it's a long sort of, you know, hefty sod. And I don't know why I said it like that. It's a great cosmetics bag. I've got one. It's would highly recommend. But they carried those down the runway, which surprised me a bit because I'm not sure if that works. But here we are. And finally, we have Animalia. This is what I'm calling this. Leopard print, as we know, has been ruling the runways for quite a while now. Some of us are a little bit slower onto the mob wife game than others. Happy to be there eventually. However, we are seeing more python print come through, more zebra print. I know cow is also sort of in that. Basically animal print under the umbrella, anything that comes out of that. And you will see interpretations of this that are printed or sort of trompe l'oeil or made to look like those pieces. And then you will also see a lot of brands are continuing to do exotics and offer exotics as part of their collection. So Balenciaga down the runway came this sort of east-westy Alma style bag with a, I don't even think that's leopard print. I think we could call that ocelot. I think that we could, is that an ocelot? I don't know. I'm just pulling any sort of wild cat out of thin air that sort of maybe has spots like that. Anyway, done in pony hair, very chic, very fabulous, east-west, obviously we love. Chanel have done their blue executive bag. Again, another east-west style. It's like an embossed and a debossed. It's bossed leather in this glorious teal. It's an excellent bag. It is my favourite bag from the Spring Summer 2026 collection. That teal is, it's juicy. and I like it. And the bag style is very easy and a little bit more down that practical route, shall we say, that we were talking about earlier. Anyway, again, you're seeing it through there. Like I mentioned, the sort of real exotics, which we're seeing at Bottega, Ralph Lauren and Celine, to name but a few, but keep your eyes out because animal prints in general are very much in. Let me know what was your favourite trend and your least favourite. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are, and in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.